Super Lucky Disaster Man. Chapter 47, Home Invasion. It wasn't until Friday that Komaeda Nagito moved temporarily into Kudo Shinichi's house. Komaeda Nagito still hadn't seen the person who had been following him again, so there was no opportunity yet to confirm if it was because of the USB. I asked around the police station, and no one came to ask if someone had found a USB. Either the content isn't important despite being encrypted, so they're too lazy to retrieve it, or they just don't want to go to the police station. Kudo Shinichi was quite interested in the USB. Has the password not been cracked yet? No. Komaeda Nagito had really been in a rush lately. After finishing his school assignments, he immediately worked on the assignments that Natsume-sensei had given him, which included writing the outline of Crime and Punishment. He didn't have time to look into the USB at all. I'll hand it over to the police in a few days. It seemed like it was just an unfortunate mix-up with the wrong USB. He had thought there might be something more interesting happening. True, handing it over to the police is for the best. Kudo Shinichi patted the suitcase Komaeda Nagito had brought along. But speaking of which, is this all your luggage, senpai? Yes. Komaeda Nagito shrugged. Most of it is actually back in Yokohama. I didn't have much stuff here in Tokyo to begin with. If needed, I can just buy most of what I need here. Kudo Shinichi didn't worry too much about this matter. Anyway, since you're moving in, just stay wherever you want until the place on the other side is ready. My parents are aware too. Not only were they aware, but they also wanted him to take good care of his upperclassmen. Although his senpai was a year older, considering his health issues and the bad luck of getting hit by a can of Coke this afternoon, Kudo Shinichi felt that taking a bit more care of his senpai was perfectly reasonable. Actually, the house just became available. Kudo Shinichi was shocked. That fast? Komaeda Nagito smiled and said, the paperwork isn't done yet, but the landlord was so happy that I readily accepted the house, and they heard about my current situation from the agent, so they directly gave me the key. The agent also helped me change the doorplate directly. Kudo Shinichi was stunned. Is that even possible? But since no one has lived there for some time, it still needs a thorough cleaning first, Komaeda Nagito said. I shouldn't trouble Kudo-kun for too long, rest assured. If it weren't for the hotel rushing him to leave, he actually could have stayed a few more days and moved straight into the new place. Unfortunately, for now, he could only stay at the Kudo residence. I'm actually fine, but do you really want to clean all by yourself? I'm quite good at cleaning. That's not what I meant. Kudo Shinichi rubbed his forehead, considering his words carefully without directly offering to help. Earlier you said, after the rooms are cleared, you'll let me see the scene. Komaeda Nagito suddenly understood. Of course, I haven't forgotten. Though, there shouldn't be anything extra left behind. Does Kudo-kun want to go today? Let's go, Kudo Shinichi said. Might as well bring the cleaning tools along. Thus, the two moved their luggage from the hotel to the Kudo residence, and then immediately went out again without much rest. Komaeda Nagito recently bought a house not far from Kudo Shinichi's home. From the second floor of the Kudo residence, one could directly see Komaeda Nagito's place. Carrying things over wasn't tiring at all, and Kudo Shinichi was even a bit intrigued. Having a friend's house so close by was indeed quite an attractive idea for a child, and Kudo Shinichi had already planned out how to arrange his time after school in the future. They arrived at the door, looked at the newly changed Komaeda nameplate, took out the key, and entered. The house was a bit chaotic, and later someone would need to come and properly repair it, but it seemed like the house had been tidied up quite well, probably because they wanted to show it to others. The two didn't hurry to clean the place up. Instead, they first took a tour around. Kudo Shinichi pointed to the tatami that, despite efforts to clean it up, still had some bloodstains. Is this where the death occurred? Yes, Komaeda Nagito replied. The kitchen, the spare bedroom, the second floor, and the attic all show signs of the victim moving around, especially the study on the second floor. It was thoroughly rummaged. Kudo Shinichi immediately asked, what about the book? The police investigated. Although some pages had been torn off, there was no trace of any clues, and the landlord got rid of it, feeling it was unlucky. Kudo Shinichi looked regretful. I see. I think he kept moving around in this room without any purpose. Maybe he left some kind of hint or something. But there's nothing we can do now. When an ordinary person is being chased, shouldn't they be running away quickly? How could they waste time exploring a strange room? After a quick round, it felt like some time had passed since the incident, and sweeping through again, there really was no clue left. Kudo Shinichi gave up and started to clear out a bedroom on the second floor together with Komaeda Nagito. Since Komaeda Nagito didn't cook and had no immediate need to entertain guests in the living room, it made sense to first organize a place to stay, avoiding the inconvenience of always relying on others. Over the next couple of days, they slowly tidied up, adding in some necessary furniture, airing the place out, until it felt just about right. Are you going back to Yokohama this weekend? Kudo Shinichi asked while wiping the window. Komaeda Nagito, fully armed, wearing a mask and an apron, stepped onto a chair to use a broom to clean the spiderwebs behind the door, his voice muffled as he said, No, there's quite a lot going on here in Tokyo. There's really no need to go back. Then tomorrow, let's go look at furniture. Do you want to buy new or second-hand? The landlord hadn't moved everything out. For example, the bookshelf in the study and some furniture in the living room were still there, but things like the bed had to be purchased anew. Japan's second-hand furniture industry is thriving. Many items after refurbishment are almost indistinguishable from brand new ones, and the prices are much more affordable. However, Komaeda Nagito wasn't lacking in money, and Kudo Shinichi wasn't sure about his spending habits, so he directly asked. Second-hand is fine, Komaeda Nagito said calmly. After all, there's no guarantee how long it will last. Kudo Shinichi thought for a moment about Komaeda Nagito's luck and found it reasonable. The two of them worked in this room until it got dark. They eventually made it acceptable and directly left the cleaning tools in this room before heading back to the Kudo residence together. Because they were a bit tired, the two ordered bento boxes and thus settled dinner simply. Afterwards, they sat together in the living room to do their homework, and having company felt quite new. By around 10 p.m., the two teenagers started to feel a bit weary. Good night. Wait. Hold on. Halfway through their goodnight exchange, Kudo Shinichi suddenly called out. Komaeda Nagito looked over in confusion. Kudo-kun, is there something else? Komaeda-senpai. While pulling the curtains, Kudo Shinichi stared out the window and waved at Komaeda Nagito. Come here quickly. Komaeda Nagito leaned closer and immediately understood why Kudo Shinichi's expression had suddenly changed. Komaeda-senpai, is that light over there coming from your house? Kudo Shinichi carefully confirmed. It doesn't seem like a light bulb. Ah, it moved. It's a flashlight. At this hour, could it be the agent bringing someone to view the house? Even though the process isn't done, they do have the keys, and it's the middle of the night. Kudo Shinichi was eager. Senpai, should we go take a look first? If something seems off, we'll quickly call the police. Komaeda Nagito agreed. Kudo Shinichi and Komaeda Nagito put on their coats and hurried out the door. Kudo Shinichi even set up an emergency shortcut on his phone, ready to call the police as soon as they confirmed that the people inside weren't the agent or former homeowners coming back to look for their things. When the two of them arrived outside the house, they found that the door lock was still intact. Kudo Shinichi's eyes scanned the area. They climbed over the wall from that side. To enter, they had to climb the wall, which seemed even more suspicious. Komaeda Nagito used the key to unlock the gate, quietly pushed it open, and together with Kudo Shinichi, tried to circle around to the back door of the house. As they were heading towards their destination, they suddenly heard a very strange noise. It's like there's a fight going on in there, Kudo Shinichi whispered. One person after another, non-stop. Komaeda Nagito nodded silently. Kudo Shinichi retreated to the side and quietly made a phone call to report the situation. Hearing the screams from inside, Kudo Shinichi began to grow restless, worried that someone inside might lose their life, though he knew that if he went in, it would only put himself in danger. He could only hope the police would arrive quickly. They quietly opened the back door but didn't go in. Instead, they listened in silence. After the sound of someone seemingly falling down the stairs, the voices of people talking inside became much clearer. Wait. I mean no harm. I just want to look for something. Hey, can you actually listen to me? You don't need to stay silent like this. Are you trying to kill me? This isn't even your house. Isn't this that kid's house? Kudo Shinichi anxiously analyzed. The attacker and the one being attacked weren't from the same group. One of them seemed rather inexperienced, as if they were here to find something, and seemed to know Komaeda-senpai. The other one was ruthless, not saying much, and gave off a much more professional vibe in illegal activities. Ah! Komaeda Nagito suddenly realized something. Could this person be here to find the USB? It's possible, Kudo Shinichi said with a strange expression. But why come here to find the USB instead of going to my house? Because the house plate says Komaeda. After a few exchanges like that, there was no more movement inside, and the sounds of screams and fleeing vanished together. Kudo Shinichi's eyes changed. It can't be that. Murder? Komaeda Nagito hurriedly pulled on Kudo Shinichi, who seemed to want to go inside. Kudo-kun, there's still someone in there. Moreover, it seems like it's a really fierce person. Kudo Shinichi gritted his teeth. I just feel like there's still a chance to save him. It's also possible they were just knocked unconscious, Komaeda Nagito said. You shouldn't rush, the police will be here soon. The other person could be the murderer of the previous case, Kudo Shinichi quickly said. He's already killed once, he wouldn't hesitate to kill again. If killing is easier than knocking someone out, he would definitely choose to kill, because the other person might have seen his face. But what could you possibly do if you go in? Komaeda Nagito calmly said. If you're discovered, do you want to provoke him into killing again? That person must also be looking for something, but I don't understand. Any clue should have already been cleaned up, so why is he still so persistent? In short, he's looking for something. It might not still be there, but this is an opportunity. Komaeda Nagito looked at Kudo Shinichi, who had an expression that seemed to burn with some kind of belief, and sighed. Although the idea is really good, it's too reckless. And besides, I don't think that person is worth Kudo-kun risking his life to save. I know, senpai, that you're worried about me. But when a person's life is in front of you, it's not about whether it's worth it or not. Besides, it's not like I have nothing at all. Kudo Shinichi took out a strange object, which looked like a toy water gun. My neighbor invented this a while back and gave me one, so I brought it with me when I left. Komaeda Nagito looked at it strangely. What is this? It's like a spider web shot. In short, press this button, and it will shoot in one direction, creating a net big enough to cover something like a large refrigerator. Kudo Shinichi's lips twitched. It's very sticky, so if the opponent is near a wall at that moment, it could even stick them to the wall. You could understand it as a web-like adhesive with enhanced strength. Originally, the professor got the idea from Spider-Man, intending to invent a toy for children. But after this gadget was created, it wasn't very safe and ended up as a failed product that had to be shelved. Now, it seems like it could be developed and put to great use in another field. However, Komaeda Nagito looked at this toy-like spider web-shaped object, feeling truly unable to muster any sense of trust in his heart. Are you sure you want to use this to chase down a murderer? Kudo Shinichi was silent. Komaeda Nagito sighed. If Kudo-kun insists, then I'll go in and take a look. Kudo-kun is much more important than I am. Just call for an ambulance outside. No, let's not act recklessly. When we called for help, we already asked for an ambulance to come as well, since we considered the possibility that the murderer might return to the scene. Who knows what they might do, so we have to be prepared for the worst. Kudo Shinichi, who had been full of enthusiasm earlier, immediately calmed down when he saw that his senior wanted to take risks in his stead. It was fine for him to sacrifice himself to save someone whose life or death was uncertain, but having others risk themselves for his sake was something Kudo Shinichi couldn't accept. Now it was Kudo Shinichi's turn to persuade Komaeda Nagito not to act impulsively. I was wrong earlier. Although in the last case, the killer didn't make a fatal blow, maybe that was to extract information. This time, it's unrelated people, and they might kill directly. I wouldn't be able to do much even if I went in. Plus, judging by the time, the police should be arriving soon. Someone might be asking for help out of their own wish, just imagining that a life would be lost right in front of them. Although there's no need to take risks, it's also impossible to be cheerful about it. Seeing Kudo Shinichi suddenly become dejected, Komaeda Nagito comforted him. Wanting to save someone isn't a bad thing. Kudo-kun looks so dazzling that way. I just hope you consider the real situation a bit. Or are you hiding the identity of some wrestler or boxing master, Kudo-kun? With Kudo-kun's intelligence, you certainly wouldn't just go off to die without a plan, right? Kudo Shinichi. Is this supposed to be comforting? Why does it feel like he's being mocked for not knowing his own limits? But after calming down and thinking it over, maybe his idea just now was a bit strange. Even though he didn't hear any gunshot, who knows if that person might have a gun. Holding a weapon, no different from a toy gun, truly seems like courting death. Moreover, if something really happens to him, dying in Komaeda-senpai's house, and having come here with Komaeda-senpai, his parents, no matter how rational, would end up venting their anger on Komaeda-senpai. It feels like he's only causing more trouble for Komaeda-senpai. Kudo Shinichi obediently apologized. I'm sorry. I understand, senpai. Komaeda Nagito smiled, speaking in a very formulaic manner. Kudo-kun is only 14 years old, after all. You have seen many works about heroism, so you think too much. I mean, it's normal for thoughts to be incomplete at this age, but the desire to save people is certainly not wrong. Kudo Shinichi, you're also only 15, senpai. Changing the phrasing to thoughts are incomplete, didn't you really mean thinking too much? I don't actually have the delusion that I'm like Holmes and can solve everything. But being 14 really does have its limits. He really hopes he can grow up soon, that way he can act when he sees injustices without worrying too much. The police still haven't arrived. Komaeda Nagito glanced at his watch. Almost 10 minutes. Kudo Shinichi calculated the time. It should be soon. I can hear the sound of the siren. They weren't the only ones who heard it, the people inside the house heard it too. Komaeda Nagito and Kudo Shinichi, worried that the person inside might leave through the door, moved away from both the front and back entrances. They hid behind a small shed in the yard, only to see a strong figure suddenly jump out of the second-floor window, land on a tree branch in the yard, and then directly leap outside the yard without even touching the wall. The entire process was smooth like flowing water, and in almost the blink of an eye, that person vanished from their sight. Kudo Shinichi looked stunned. Ah, this. That skill, if he had entered and been discovered just now, he really would have been a goner. Komaeda Nagito, however, was uncharacteristically silent. Because he realized that the person just now, in the moment they jumped down and were exposed in the streetlight, looked somewhat familiar. After waiting for 3 seconds and hearing the sound of the person running away, Kudo Shinichi immediately rushed into the room, intending to find the person who was still inside, confirm if they were alive or not, and see if he could save them. This kind of respect and value for life was something Komaeda Nagito did not possess, but he really appreciated it, so he followed in as well. Komaeda Nagito entered, and immediately heard Kudo Shinichi say, "Not dead, just knocked unconscious." Really not dead, huh? Honestly speaking, Komaeda Nagito thought they couldn't save him. After all, that person as malicious wouldn't have too much sympathy, yet they still ended up sparing him. Kudo Shinichi, with a complicated mood, pulled down the person's tie, tied his hands behind his back, then leaned him against the wall. While trying to shake the person awake, he explained to Komaeda Nagito, "This is the stalker I encountered earlier." Komaeda Nagito. This crazy stalker messed up. Not only did they follow the wrong person, but they almost got killed by an even more dangerous guy. It's like a stalker case gone wrong. This person is practically useless now. After regaining consciousness in a panic, the stalker was dazed for a while. My head hurts. I feel dizzy, and my stomach hurts too. That guy really hit hard just now. Where am I? Komaeda. Sorry, Komaeda-san, please let me explain. Kudo Shinichi interrupted the rambling person. What's your name? Saito. Why are you here? To find the USB. Relying on simple questions and answers, this person explained everything clearly as the siren moved closer. Simply put, this stalker roughly learned a bit about Komaeda Nagito, discovered that he seemed quite familiar with the police, then panicked, went back to work while waiting for the police to come and arrest him, but until today no police came, so he went back to stalk again. On the way, he overheard them faintly talking about the USB, realizing that the USB was indeed in Komaeda Nagito's possession, which reignited a spark of hope in him. He followed Komaeda Nagito and Kudo Shinichi after school to their hotel, watched them unpack their luggage, return to the Kudo residence, then go from the Kudo residence to the Komaeda residence, only to return to the Kudo residence again, and then not return anymore. At this point, Saito felt that he had stumbled upon a great opportunity. Komaeda Nagito was staying at a friend's house, which meant that tonight there would be no one at the Komaeda residence, making it an ideal time to intrude. Upon hearing this, Kudo Shinichi couldn't help but say, "Haven't you considered the possibility that Komaeda-senpai might have brought the USB to my house?" "I did consider that," Saito said quietly. "It's okay to search again. If I can't find it, I'll think of another way, but if I do find it, then it's worth it." Kudo Shinichi was at a loss for words. Moreover, the main point isn't whether he has the USB or not, right? Saito felt really wronged. "I only realized it after coming in. This place doesn't look like someone lives here at all. There's no way he would leave anything here." Kudo Shinichi's eyes looked lifeless. "Then what do you think the two of us are here for today with brooms and cleaning supplies? To help a fellow friend clean their room. Then why do you think senpai, if he already had a place, would stay at a hotel?" "I didn't think that far. There's always a reason. Reality is always full of strange twists and turns, isn't it?" "You really make a good point." Komaeda Nagito sighed deeply. "So, what exactly is on this USB that makes it worth all this trouble?" "Company information." "What kind of company?" Kudo Shinichi asked sharply. "If it were legitimate company information, you would have directly asked after knowing the USB was with Komaeda-senpai. Why go through such a big hassle? Could it be an illegal company?" Saito started playing dead. "The police will be here in less than a minute. You'll have to talk sooner or later," Kudo Shinichi urged. "Hurry up, since the USB is in senpai's hands, the police will crack the code quickly anyway. If you talk now, it might still count as a confession. No wonder it's a path filled with countless unimaginable outcomes, ending up in this kind of situation. This little fool actually believed it and confessed such a ghost story. It's a murder contractor company. When I joined, I didn't know either. Honestly, I've always wanted to report it, but the last colleague who said they'd report it ended up being killed." The police car had stopped outside the door, and the sound of approaching footsteps signaled the end of tonight's comedic act, with the final curtain ready to fall. "Kudo-kun, I'll leave this place to you." Kudo Shinichi saw Komaeda Nagito heading in the direction of the restroom and, without suspicion, replied, "All right, I'll handle explaining the situation." After Komaeda Nagito entered the restroom, he took out his phone and dialed a number. A few seconds later, the call connected, but the person on the other end said nothing, not even a sound of breathing could be heard. "Ah, it's me." Komaeda Nagito spoke. "Sir, I'm really sorry to bother you, but the FBI agent from before infiltrated my house tonight, knocked out a stalker who was tailing me, and escaped before the police arrived." I don't know what he intended to do, so I wanted to ask if you happen to know anything about this situation. Morofushi Hiromitsu, who is working for the National Police Agency in his childhood friend's stead. Wait a second. Akai Shuichi, infiltration, and a stalker. Too many factors. What on earth is going on here? Chapter 47 end.